Thank you very much, Cathaoirleach. Minister, I've actually now attended the last 2 COPs. I went to Glasgow and I was in Sharm el-Sheikh, and it's actually one of the unintended benefits of having been elected to the Oireachtas, because I never would have attended them had I not been a member of the Climate Action Committee. And on both occasions I found them to be really eye-opening. Particularly on 2 of those occasions I was able to attend events through the IPU, the International Parliamentary Union. And in Egypt there recently, I was in a room with 181 parliamentarians from around the world. And one of the key messages that was coming from places like Pakistan, where 1/3 of it is underwater, coming from places like island nations in the Pacific Ocean, where they're actually having to physically remove the location of villages because of rising sea levels, was that this will come for you too, that this isn't just an issue that's happening the far side of the world. If we don't do something about reducing global temperatures and having a really sustainable impact on climate action, this will happen in the Western world as well. And that was hit home very, very, very clear to me about it. And one of the issues that I actually spoke about when I was there was the real need, I believe, to try and reframe the whole narrative and reframe the whole debate around climate action and climate change and what we can do about it. And when I talk about reframing it, what I mean by that is, I feel sometimes, particularly in our society, it can be a case of that you must give up these things in order to be sustainable or conscientious towards the climate, that you have to sacrifice or give up something. And I think we need to reframe that entire debate to say, hold on a second, it's not about giving up something, it's about the huge amount of opportunities that are going to be available in green tech, in the economy, in terms of job creation. We are on the cusp, I firmly believe, of a renewable revolution in this country. And I think by the end of this decade, if we keep going where we're going, we can be the absolute powerhouse of renewable energy to the European Union and the European continent. If you just imagine it, for example, with wind energy, where we're on the cusp of the peripheral edge of the European Union, if we do it properly and as our targets intend us to do, we'll end up being a net exporter, where we can actually export some of our excess wind energy to European countries and within the EU that don't have it. I think that's really exciting. The amount of jobs that's going to create, the huge impact that's going to have for the economy, the amount of homes that's going to be able to power in this country. There is a lot to be excited about when it comes to renewable energy. The other thing that I really discussed at COP, and that I really believe firmly about this whole climate debate, it's 2 things. It's about making, like, the average person definitely wants to be able to do something and contribute to it. And it's about making it 2 things: as financially incentivized for people to do something, and making it as simplistic as possible. So a great example of that has been introduced in the last 2 or 3 weeks is the deposit return scheme, where you're literally getting cash for your trash. Like, it's similar to, when I describe it as an analogy to some people, it's similar to when you're going shopping and you put €1 in your trolley, you use the shopping trolley and you get your euro back at the end of it. We actually have to hit targets of 70, there's 1.9 billion plastic bottles in Ireland every year. And even with the greatest will in the world, we're not going to be able to recycle all of those. So our targets are 77% of that should be recycled by 2027 and 90% by 2029. And with a thing like the deposit return scheme, where you're going to have machines rolled out right across the country, you're providing really great accessibility, we're absolutely going to hit, if not surpass, those targets on time. So that to me is just a really good microcosm example of something that we are doing, and especially when it comes to the individual. Recycling is the most powerful thing that an individual can do in the fight against climate change. So there is a good example of something that we're doing there. But all in all, I actually attended another event yesterday about the circular economy. And a couple of the groups that I was there with and a couple of the speakers had said that, 5 years ago, the word sustainability, for example, wasn't really discussed when it came to businesses. Now, 5 years on, every business, every CEO is absolutely focused on sustainability and the green credentials of the products that they're producing. 1, because it's the right thing to do, but 2, it's because consumers are much more climate conscientious than ever before. That consumers are making dedicated choices based on the green credentials of the products that they want to buy. I certainly see that with my sister's generation, who's 22, and other people in their late teens, early 20s. People are becoming far more climate conscientious of what they're buying, consumers, and brands and producers and businesses are having to follow that trend, which I think is very, very useful. But all in all, just to summarise and to conclude, I really believe Ireland is in for a very exciting decade when it comes to renewable energy, and thereon for. It's something that we should be really, really proud of, and the debate always should be framed about the opportunities it's going to create for society, the economy, and the world in general.
Well done.